In this presentation, you will learn about Marx and the Capitalist Raubbau. Marx's very first political economic essay, Debates on the Law on Theft of Wood, written in 1842 during his editorship of Rheinische Zeitung, was focused on ecological issues. A large number of peasants were imprisoned for a simple act of gathering dead wood from the forest. Though the peasants were availing their traditional right, they were prohibited due to widespread prevalence of private property. While observing this issue, Marx remarked how the traditional rights of peasants on land was disregarded in order to protect the owning rights of property holders. Disadvantaged peasants were perceived as the enemy of the wood because of their traditional rights to gather wood, primarily as fuel for cooking and warming their homes, contravened the proprietorship rights of private property owners. Soon after this, Marx initiated his systematic research into political economy. In his economic and philosophical manuscripts of 1844, he was already concentrating on the issue of primitive gathering, that is, the progress of capitalist development, which led to withdrawal of the peasantry by alienating them from the land. He mentioned the capital to be the precondition for capitalist model of production and it enduring base as the root for the advent of contemporary proletariat. Capitalism originated as a system of infringement on nature and community wealth. Marx has propagated the critique of political economy through differentiating between use value and exchange value. In his opening pages of Capital, he has mentioned about both and makes a reference to exchange value dominating the use value in later stages. Use value was in general connected with the necessities of production and with the basic human relation to nature, that is, fundamental human needs. Exchange value, on the other hand, was concerned with the quest of increasing the profit. This resulted in incongruity between capitalist production and natural production. Marx explained this paradox as what was later known as Lauderdale paradox, named after James Maitland, the 8th Earl of Lauderdale, 1839. Lauderdale, in an inquiry into the nature of public wealth and into the means and causes of its increase, described public wealth as comprising of use value, which existed in plenty with nature, like air, water, etc., whereas the wealth of the capitalists was the direct result exchange value, which necessitated inadequacy. Thus, the material possessions of the rich and the capitalists are a direct outcome of destruction of public wealth and assets. Therefore, monopolization and leveraging charges on water, which once was generously available for free, is the measure to increase the asset of the rich at the cost of public wealth. In the Spice Island, Dutch colonists were known to burn all the spiceries which were produced further than their expectations during what they called as fertile period. They would pay the inhabitants to accumulate the young buds and green leaves of nutmeg trees to dispose of in Europe with such a profit as they think sufficient. The planters in Virginia, by lawful representation, burned a certain portion of their yields to maintain the price. Thus, it is clear that the personal interest led person to take advantage of the situation and that nothing but the impossibility of general combination protects the public wealth against the acquisitiveness of private greed. Marx was interested in learning the paradox between what Lauderdale described as use value and exchange value in the capitalist system. The capitalist mode of development relies on the concept of waste and destroying the natural resources. Through the process of distribution and competition, public wealth is lost at the personal gains of private riches in the society. The capitalists needed to magnify and expand to maintain their share of wealth for its survival. Thus, it was mandatory for capitalists to continue accumulation of wealth through relentless revolutionization of product, through displacing and alienating the labor and encouraging revenues and profits for increasing their share of profit. Marx, relying on the work of German chemist Justus von Liebig, argued the transportation of food to new industrial and urban centers with huge population robs all the nutrients from the soil. Liebig termed this as Raubbau or robbery system. Marx believed in Raubbau causing an irreplaceable rift within capitalist society in breakdown amongst human beings and the soil, a metabolism prescribed by the natural laws of life itself, requiring its systematic restoration as a regulative law of social production. However, in case of industrialization, the real face of capitalism is exposed, which primarily relies on exploitation of workers and the natural nutrients of the soil. In the industrialization of agriculture, he suggested, the true nature of capitalist production was revealed, which only develops by instantaneously undermining the original sources of all wealth, the soil and the worker. Thank you for watching the presentation. Do like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments about this presentation or any other topic you would like to learn more about.